Go.
Hi everyone, I'm Sierra Morris. I'm a senior here at the University of Missouri and I'm studying convergence broadcast journalism.
Hey everybody, I'm DJ Pointer and I'm a senior and I'm studying Convergence Multimedia.
And what made you want to study journalism? And what do you think needs to be changed about the industry?
You can start.
Well, I'm a people's person. I've always liked to connect with people and just experience different things and share experiences, whether it be talking about school or just talking about going to McDonald's kind of thing. I just like talking to people and sharing experience. So I felt like journalism was the field to do things where you can meet different people and share experiences and they share their story. You have a chance to tell that story the right way. So that's why I wanted to do journalism. As far as the industry and how it should be changed, I definitely think that there are not enough journalists. I feel like it's more journalists coming from a certain status in life, economic status, and it's not enough coming from the ground up. So I feel like there are only certain people trying to tell stories of a wide range of people and it's not diverse enough. So
Yeah, I would agree with everything that DJ said. I got into journalism because I love telling people stories. I love telling stories, and I am a people person, and so I like connecting with people and I like connecting people. And I think that one way that I felt like I could do that is through telling a story. So I feel like if maybe I can give you an insight into someone's life, then maybe you can connect with them and then see them as even if you don't look like them, you can relate to them. So that's one main reason. And then I feel like journalism needs to change for representation. But then also even if you don't represent a culture or represent a gender, I think you can still do people justice, and that's by the way you report on them. And I think in order to do that, people have to get out of the field of their job and just sit with people and relate with people outside of journalism or outside of getting a story. I think that's how you get a genuine learning from people, and then that way you can shift back into the work field and do a better job telling stories.
yeah, I just want to add to that. I understand journalism, especially these big news organizations about business, but business can get lost with actually telling the story of the people and who we were meant to serve in the first place. And it's kind of well, this story will attract more advertisement, or this story we can get more clicks, which equals more money. So we're gonna go tell it this way, or it's more controversial, but it doesn't really. I feel like we've lost the basics of generally telling the story and giving news to the people and
Right.
just informing them on things they need to know.
Yeah, I definitely think the history of journalism needs to be reviewed, and we need to go back to the basics, and maybe just think about why it got started, think about where we came from, because it no longer is stenography. We're supposed to be going out and finding stories independently, regardless of the company that we're working for or the people that we feel are influencing us. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes that gets lost. I think after the election, we're kind of trying to move back for being for the people, and genuinely trying to inform people rather than just get engagement for money.
Yeah.
So.
And kind of segueing into that, I mean, as journalists, we do cover some controversial topics. So, have you seen Jamel Hill's tweets? And as far as her Trump comments, what do you think about it? And how do you think journalists, especially as Black women, should cross that line as far as personal beliefs and then as a professional?
It's very hard because intersectionality is a real thing, and you are a woman, and you are a Black woman, and you are in sports. You know what I mean? Already underrepresented it, and what she said, it definitely is. I mean, it was legit true, and it needed to be said. To me personally, this is my opinion. But was it worth the backlash? Was it worth it? You know what I mean? I think that I went to a Unity conference last week, and I agree with Nichelle Turner, and she spoke was is it worth the position that you have? Is that worth losing? You are a Black woman. You are being such a role model for other Black girls and just women in general, looking up to you in this position. And just to say something about Donald Trump that millions of people are saying, was it worth your position and giving that up or losing that? And I think it wasn't. So it's a very hard, because you want to have a voice and you want to be able to say what you want to say, but at the same time you have to think about where you came from and the role model that you're being to other people, and like, is that position worth losing over something as trivial as, you know, saying I didn't like Donald Trump's socks, even though that's not what she said. It was more deep in it, but you know.
Yeah, no, I think it comes back to picking your battles, and I think maybe that was something that she could have passed up on. And so, yeah, I was at Unity Conference, and we heard Michelle Turner talk about that, and I think that's really important because it is hard. Like, you are a black woman, and you do work in an industry where you sometimes have to put aside your opinion, but that still doesn't mean that you lose your viewpoint or you lose, like, where you're coming from, and I think that where you're coming from or your motive is more important than your opinion. So if your main reason for being in journalism or being like this head or this figure is to make sure there's representation or to make sure we're in the conversation, then do that. Like, then maybe you need to be silent so that way you can make moves behind the scenes to change things. So I do think, like, she said what she said, right? So she can't take it back. And I think she owned it very well, but I think it could have been done differently.
Okay.
And I just want to add to that, like, it's just sad because, like, if this was any other minority group or whatever, or white person, honestly, you know, they probably could say what they want. Like, Tommy Lauren's a perfect example. Tommy Lauren said what she want, and, like, she doesn't get any backlash.
But she's also, like, not Janelle Hill, like, you know, like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you can't compare, but it's sad, like, because she is a black woman, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, like, she could say something that's the exact same of what Tommy Lauren was saying, but because she is that black woman, like, it's gonna be taken more to an extreme.
No, I agree. I think the idea, her status of being like a black woman, definitely played a role, but I do think she had more at stake. She has more at stake, like, period, point blank. Like, she has years on years, and she's working for ESPN, and she's always on TV. Like, she equals ESPN. You know what I mean? Like, and after you sign contracts, which is what Michelle Turner
yeah, that's
like,
true. You have to consider, like, the organization that you are representing, and at that point, like, even though this is your separate account or your personal account, like, because you are on TV every day and you are on ESPN channel, like, you are representing ESPN.
Right.
So that's another thing, too.
But regardless, yeah, I think factoring in the fact that she was a black woman,
it just made it, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I guess wrapping up, so there always is, especially like with protests and like social issues, they always say you need to protest. That's the wrong way to protest. And like with Jamel Hill, as far as like journalism goes, I mean, I won't say when do you draw the line, but like what do you think is kind of an effective way to kind of keep your job or like keep your status, but also, you know, like have a voice in what you know is wrong. So
I would say that kind of what I said previously is being in those rooms and making sure you're there while we're framing stories. You're there while they're sending out reporters. And so it's not just like a black person thing. No, like everyone should be educated on this issue and everyone should think about the different sides. And so let's not think of these group of people as disrupting the peace and like they're causing so much problems. How about we figure out why they're here? How about we figure out what their motives are? And sometimes, yeah, things are ugly, things are negative, but other times there's a positive side, there's a positive aspect, and people, I feel, rarely ever go to like the people outside, like the people that are protesting, they kind of just go to like the bystanders or maybe a figurehead of a movement and never really talk to like you know, everyday average people, which is who watches the news. So it like, you know what I mean? Like they're not meeting their market. And I think that that's one way you could do that. You could like advocate, I would say, advocating for what you believe in the newsroom, and then but still making sure that you're not being biased, you know, is one way you could do that.
Yeah,